but very real. Remember, a surgeon can cut you open all day long and look around. He will not find a chakra. He won't find one. He also won't find love, peace, goodness. But we know they're in there. So there they are in a static form, but we want to get at least an idea of the constant motion, the energy generating function of these things. So let's go right from Slim, let's go right to our slide. And we're going to see on our slide here, there it is, those springs there coming out of Slim. I used a slinky as a spring a little while ago. Those denote energy waves, really. Energy waves that emanate out of these chakras and into them too. That skinny pole, by the way, that's our garden hose. That skinny, tiny little pole, you can barely see it there, that runs through those chakras. That's the sushumna. Now visualize, as you look at that fellow there on the left of the picture, visualize all those chakras spinning about and all those springs sort of turning like a corkscrew, sort of orbiting and fluxing and gyrating. Why? Because that's what energy waves do. And they're all invisible because that's what energy waves are. These waves, radio waves, cell phone signals, microwaves, radar, whatever. We've spoken a lot about the waves of the electromagnetic spectrum here on Energy Contact. And those chakras are not just generating those waves, they're intaking them too. It's a two-way street. Those energy waves, denoted by those springs there that you're imagining spinning, they inhale and exhale. They constantly empty and they reload, sort of like a heart does or like a lung does. But in order for these energy waves to exist, the ones on the springs, the chakras have to be spinning. They have to be in constant motion, just like your lungs are, just like your heart is. And then that energy broadcasts out of those springs, almost like they're the horns of a trumpet. In the sense of Newton's physics, those things are using electrical energy to generate mechanical energy, and vice versa. And they do both to move mass. And the mass in this case is you. Now that's Newton's physics. According to Einstein's physics, what they're doing is just spooky. And we don't have time to go into that for another show. Excuse me. All right. On the other side of your screen there is the relationship of the 7 main chakras to those 7 main bodies we just spoke of. Those going outward are those body names we just mentioned. In the middle there you can see those chakra names. Let's go quickly to our next slide and we'll see a different view here. Those are those Sanskrit names and then the English names, and the next category is a brief translation of those Sanskrit names and then the body to which they correspond. We'll leave them in place for just a moment. We say that the first and the 7th chakras are the front of each other. And so as you look at this, you can think about why that is. The first chakra has everything to do with the physical self, and the 7th chakra has everything to do with the energetic reasons that you even have a physical self. All right, let's come back here. As a matter of fact, let's go back up to our roof for a moment, and we're going to take Isaac Newton with us. Like we said at the show opener, if something is falling down, something else must be falling up. That's the old thing you've heard. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now we know that gravity falls down, but when we opened that first crimp in our hose, energy moved up, water moved up. Why? Because that water buildup had energy behind it, and that's the way that energy goes. We've often discussed that, haven't we? How gravity falls down and energy falls up and entropy falls apart. Well, it's all coming together right up here on our roof with the contents in the hose flowing up and with the earth down beneath. If you were to jump off of this roof, gravity would take you right down to the earth. You'd have no problem getting there. But when you landed, let's say you land on your feet. Well, it's not your feet that hurt that much. You feel the impact in your knees and in your hips. Not only that, but you'll probably get a headache because it'll go right up your spine and right into your head. How's that work? Well, what happens is the energy of the earth falls up through you the moment you land and you experience entropy. But if you fall too far, you experience too much of it. You break something or hurt something or traumatize something. In other words, you fall apart, at least to some degree. And you feel pain, because pain is resistance to flow. While you're in the air, you're flowing. There is no resistance. And one thing else happens after you land. You know that it's going to take a lot longer to put yourself back together than it did to break yourself in the first place. So, Our instincts lie to us, don't they? Our most primal instinct is the fear of falling. But falling isn't the problem. It's landing. It's impact. The whole time you're in the air, everything is just fine. So on our journey for health and growth and happiness and self-improvement and the realization of our full potential, we use the physical to move the energetic, and we use the energetic to move the physical. Can you see how that happens? When your body moves, the energy moves, and then when your energy moves, your body moves. It goes around and around. There's no difference. It's all the same. The mess we get ourselves into is by clinging to that belief that there's any difference in the first place. So it's an endless loop. These things, mass and energy, constantly feeding into each other. We just have to pick a point and dive into it somewhere. But in the chakra sense, we have to get in at the root. That hose is the Sushumna Nadi, and that's where everything begins there too. It's the root. We need to get a steady flow all the way from the bottom of us to the top. But if we can just open up that bottom crimp, everything else might open up all by itself. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining me. I wish you peace and positive energy and a healthy life in Energy Contact.
He ain't gonna worry and I ain't gonna complain. I'm gonna drive away all these doubts I've been keeping, and I'll keep my mind on better things. Just keep my mind on better things. Just keep my mind on better things.